Alright, the first thing we're going to have to do is establish contact with deep within your subconscious, because what we have is pictures of, it looks like waves in the sky. I know you've seen them. If you pay attention, you should see them all the time. But there's something going on, and you know, you can Google something, but that's not what's going on. You know, and then you saw some pictures of some microwaves. Then you saw a picture of some fryers, like you would fry French fries in, or anything that's deep fried. And see, the fryers are literally like, you know, there's gonna be burners depending on how big it is. So we'll say that's the fryer. You're looking over the top of it. If it's empty, there's going to be 4 burners. That's going to look no different than what those waves look like, because they're going to represent the same thing. When you pour oil in this, the oil expands. Right. The oil expands. So we know that the ether, which is air, which is spirit, without air, there's nothing can exist. You understand? So when you learn how to harness the air, but what we have to understand, something like this, like to the average person, they don't even, this is melted structure. All this right here is little layers of them squeezing the air. Look at that. Trying to give you a good view of this one. There's a shit ton of layers right there. So this is a little more melted than this one. And you can see on the top where it was dripping when it was turned off. But this is different. You see the lines right there. Yeah, this was structure. So this was squeezed. All right. So what we have is you've got 2 different kinds of heat going on. This one's a little more heated. This was almost there, and then it got turned off. But if we put something in the microwave, we know what? That depending on where you put it, something might not get cooked as much as something else. Because when we're trying to understand something that we can't, because what we know that, like this technology right here, okay, the math that we have, this species of dumb human being goys, they have the lowest form of math. So that means that, you know, the architecture that they think they know can't figure this out. And this comes from up there. And that's what nobody can understand. You know, and if we look at a dog, like an electric leash, okay, you know, you set up this perimeter, okay, around house, and then you put something on this dog, and then it runs, and if it gets, you know, close, then it's going to shock the shit out of it. So in a sense, there's an invisible wall to create this field. Okay, so we know that the microwave, what you're given, is the heat penetrates to the water molecules and heats it from the inside out. So what would happen? Let's say, hypothetically, I can't draw good, but let's say, hypothetically, this structure is huge. We'll just say it's huge. It's just a big structure. Okay. It's just going to represent a huge structure. So this is going to be a huge structure that's been there for a very fucking long time. So long it's not even funny. Okay, and they give you a hint in the movie Dune, whatever. When he hands it over from Batista, he loses his job under his uncle, and then the guy goes in and starts blowing everything up, and the guy goes genius, melting them, insinuating that they're melting the shit out of them, these structures. And if you'll see, there's these little weirdos sitting there connected. Of course, their cerebrum and their brain and all that. They're connected to this thing, and then there's, you can see where the vehicle that they control is. It's just fucking blowing the shit out of everything. Now, I'm pretty sure that's not what it is, but the way that the grid is set up in that movie is what I'm trying to tell you with this. They can make invisible fields that, because the microwave is an invention of this shit, what I'm talking about, like how they melted this. So when you get something surrounded, it's not hard to see that, but what we've been given is it's beyond impossible to even see what I'm trying to talk to you about. So it's not hard once you know the elements and how powerful that the world that you're in truly is, and that how all inventions and the fake power that you have comes from us and what was once here. Lasers is nothing, it's been here. But it's the ones who have the power of that technology now. It's been in the wrong hands for a long fucking time. And so when you've not been given certain math, then you're not going to fucking understand nothing, because this is pure concrete right here. So of course they're never going to run out of fucking resources. They've created the monetary system and all that shit. So instead of us building like this, we cut down the oxygen. So that's what I'm saying. They sell the shit and they're fucking corporation branded shit. Yeah. You got to go buy shit that comes out of the ground, so we don't have to go that far. So, but this is one of the biggest things, though. There's many ways that this thing it accomplishes the goals. But one of the ways is setting up. You're on a big magnet. So, levitation and all that shit's nothing new. We should know magnetic technology, and you would be able to make shit float. It's nothing big. It's in your world, though. That's black magic. It's like, no, it's not. You've never been given anything whatsoever. And, all of electricity and all that shit that you know of, it comes from that up there. It comes from Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Mercury, the moon, the sun. Every bit of it. You're in a big battery. It's a big battery. It's a huge magnetic vibrating battery that creates badass life forms of being neutral. Okay? And nobody knows that. And what's done all this shit is making sure that you don't know that. So when you go to the other side, who we once were, you go to the other side with a brand new ideology, which is materialistic forces, which is going to be your downfall forever. Because all these forces, that's why they did shit like that. But it's to set up, because I've literally drove hundreds, if not a couple thousands of miles looking at these structures and walking and all that. And I did videos years ago, but it's not good for business, because you spend time talking about it, and yeah, you can help a few, but if people can't see it, then they are this unseen entity that controls them through the impulses of AI and all that, which is a demon. They have demon impulses. They can be nice all they want, but they're controlled. So, some of your energy, and especially my energy, I ain't fucking wasting it, not no more. But to go and observe from the top to the bottom, because where I'm at, around Chattanooga is nothing but fucking shit everywhere. So when you see it for what it is, you know, its pieces are literally just blown everywhere, and they are. You know, so, and what I mean by that, in a microwave, if something gets hot and whatever it is, it's going to start bubbling and explode. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because there's chunks literally at the bottom of a lot of these structures. You know, that the people, when you ask them, it's like, explain why those chunks are not everywhere out here. Because it's a different kind of, a lot of it's different. But that's my whole point is it was heated to the point to where it exploded in certain spots. And we're talking about fucking huge structures. I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of miles, continents too, that they literally very delicately, systematically created fucking generations and had this technology that nobody fucking has. Only if you know about it. They did all that shit and fucking put it in the closet. And now that technology is in the microwaves. It's in the lasers. You can sit here and burn shit, you know, with lasers. And it's like, you know, these fucking crops that they did is nothing but them lasers. It's not, it's all it is. Fucking with everybody. And then they get on their black magic broadcasting syndicate, fucking black magic, and spread gossip. It's insane, and the people soak it in. They're like, oh no, man, it's real. I've watched 20,000 hours of fucking voodoo alien bullshit, and they're coming. It's like, no, they're not. You're fucking dumb. I love you anyways. You know, but I'm telling you, what's under your feet is more important. And the reason that you can't accept that something bigger might be trying to pull you in to look and to understand. So being told that the math you've been given will not allow you to see this for what it is. Okay? Because this kind of shit right here comes from that up there. Okay? Structures were built like the human anatomy. It's insane. It's crazy how these generations, how strong the human, how we were truly created. You know, if we knew the elements, but you were created to destroy each generation, and still it doesn't. I mean, I know some of these individuals, I care about them dearly, but they're wrong in every aspect of their whole existence. And they take every bit of that shit with them. And they've been controlled and guided. But I mean, some of them's literally 80. They don't ever drink water. They don't. They've drank sodas and ate shit food, and you know, they go to these structures and get the pills, and it keeps them alive. But on top of that, their anatomy they doesn't know is a bunch of cells. So by default, it's going to generate its own again without them knowing it. And without them knowing that they've been blocked from what generates the cells even more with the rubber and stay inside and get shot and this and that, eat pills, snacks, sodas. It denies the cells, you know, from being connected to the main source, which is the sun, you know, because it's connected to every life form. And the more you disconnect people from, you know, what they know, then the more you don't know about that. And the more that you have lies ingrained into you from birth, you know, then the more you can't get out of it. That's what I'm saying. Look, here's the deal, okay? I'll show this. I mean, this is fucking hot, man. This is hot. This is burnt on this side. That's burnt. This is where it was dripping. Look at that. That's where it was dripping. Look at that. So, you know, this wavelength or wave field or whatever, it's the magnetic field. So, that's what I'm saying. They can literally fucking turn the air on like a microwave. they can set it up, and I've seen it in bits and pieces, but I can't put it all together because dealing with these dummies around me, I do certain things, and I think it does hinder certain things. But like right here, this tech, here's a piece. You can see the center. You see how it was heated? So anything from the center out was starting to, you see that? It was starting to come out. But this is petrified from the heat that it was producing. All this is more concrete. This is something else. This is. So this was some kind of technology, because this is shit right here is literally everywhere out here near me. And it's fucking melted to shit. But I mean, it was some kind of, you know, what we would think of as electricity, but it was something big, the way that it was singed. It melted the concrete like butter. But then this technology is just like in a microwave. It's not going to melt certain things. You understand? So more of the melt went to concrete and shit like that, but it burned all the fucking elements out of everything. But you can see that, how it literally was so hot, that right there in the middle. And this still had the structure. See that? You see what I'm talking about, how it was so hot, but this still stayed. And I have more, but I mean, they got fucking obliterated. And, you know, just to show you one more good one. This is being squeezed. Look at this. All right, now watch. Let's see. This one is the burnt side. You can see the burn right here. No, I ain't too good with cameras. But if you pause it and zoom in on it, hopefully. But you can see the technology, especially right there at the top left. The whole top part right here is pretty burnt. I don't know if it's going to show it good on that camera, but you can see where it was structured, and then you see where it was squeezed. Look at that shit. So each one of those layers probably represents fucking 12 inches. I'm just guessing. And I'm giving a low guess. You know what? Look at that. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. This little part right here, that was, you know, that was. Now look at this other one. Let me see this one a little better. Let's see. That's so smooth right there. And then look at that. See? It's crazy looking at it in the phone. But I mean, this is just, you see that one's a little burnt too. Yep. But you see them little lines on the top right here? See, when it got turned off, something, you know, and all that wet concrete and shit that they melted, these huge structures, were fucking literally rivers of concrete. I can take you right over here and take you to a shit ton of them. Yeah, and it grabbed anything. And that's what I'm saying. There's fucking trees. Yeah, from the heat petrified, like this, that the liquid concrete grabbed. Because I took somebody up there that said, "You're just fucking crazy." And I took him to something, and he goes, man, this takes like 50 million years or something. And I was like, yeah, exactly. And it's somewhere to where it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be there. So when it's heated up and then coming down, fucking liquid, like I said, in this field, there's going to be certain things that doesn't get melted, just like you know about on TV. They'll show houses destroyed and but the tree beside it, which is a laser hit. Or some of that silent shit that they can literally just point something at it and just fucking disintegrate it, you know. But this is a little different because they had to create the dinosaurs. Okay, when you can understand that they literally, the plan is to melt it. Okay, well, they already knew that melting it, you know, and whatever trees and shit, and hell, if any animal life was sitting around, it'd fucking heat them up a little and then grab them and then reform back in and then create what? A fossil. Yeah, that's only a couple hundred years old, depending on where you go around here. At the most 200 years, but 200 or more years old around here. Yeah. And that's the thing is one of the first schools here that I attended, elementary school, there's nothing else around here. Guess what we did? We went and looked at fossils in the woods. So you melt these structures, and then you know, how they literally fucking flooded it with mud blows my mind. Still, there's all kinds of theories on them, but I mean, you don't understand. Like up here, there's literally, you know, how are you going to melt these structures? You're going to melt these structures, and the dams just cover up everything. But this is a little higher up. So, I mean, you're literally destroying this structure. We're going to say it's, you know, 1,500 feet high, whatever, 2,000 feet high. Hell, 3,000 feet. Fuck it. You know, and they're going to destroy it, or 4,000 feet, but it's fucking huge. So they're going to destroy it and then cover it up with dirt. You understand? That's like a fucking Empire State Building, but for a long ways. And then everything else underneath it had to be covered up too. So you're literally talking about generations. You understand? Getting ready for this age of Aquarius that's ruled by Saturn. Because this is getting crazy, because it's literally they're bringing into this world every fucking kind of demon and demonic impulse and demonic force that you could possibly ever fucking think about is being brought into this fucking realm. It was set up for what we're going through. We're at the ending and the beginning stages of what's going on. So, you know, if you're into getting out of this fucking thing, this matrix, you're really in a lucky spot. Even though it might not look like it, but you really are when it comes to the other side and the unseen shit. Because what you're doing is you're looking at all these forces, these impulses or addictions, and you know, and all these impulses and currents coming from these snacks and fast foods and all this and these high-powered coffees and all that shit, they come in trucks to these towns, and sooner or later they're going to stop that shit. Based off of, you know, everybody's going to have to go inside, and, you know, we need to make sure everybody's got this, and people, the average person can't see what's fixing to happen. They're conditioning everything to be, you know, these smart cities eventually, but I mean, it's going to be fucking disgusting down the road. And people can't understand that. So they're bringing in all these souls into this world, and then they're filling up their minds, you know. So when we're looking at the average person, the cube, so when they're bringing them into here, okay, what did this shit right here, what melted it, okay, is no different than somebody building a house, setting it up. Okay, they did that to get to where I'm telling you. They did all that shit, covered it up, and created a whole new mindset, gave you space and all that bullshit, filled you up with materialism in your brain right here. So you take all those forces when you die to the other side, and you're going to create this, you're going to miss something, but you're creating this very fucking evil sphere, okay, that is full by the shit ton now. That's what I'm saying. That's why you've been given gadgets and everything else to disconnect you and to fucking keep you from knowing anything. So when you go, you ain't got a fucking chance. And all those forces come out. The same way the phone was invented from us. When it dies, does the memory die? No. You can transfer it. So when you die, your memory goes. And what uploaded into there goes with you. So if you think your math is real, it goes with you. And it's going to be a figure on the other side. We don't know how they did this. I mean, I'm saying hypothetically. That's how you would have to approach that. Because, you know, this technology, like I said, it came, you know, from above. You know, because a lot of these old scholars that are awoke or whatever, they didn't really, I mean, they're on fire. But listen, everything of that right there was created as a mirror image of that shit up there. Yeah, you have no idea. You know about pyramids and how many fucking pyramids used to be around and all the bells and that shit. I mean, it was on another level. I mean, those orbs that we know as Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and all that was fucking a lot bigger and a lot brighter, what I'm saying. Because the more you create structure here of components of real magnetic electric power that we know about, you know, then when this huge battery comes over, the way that some of this is set up, you would see a fucking laser from here to straight up there. That's a real light show. Yeah. And it'd light the whole firmament up. And they would show everybody. You have no idea. That's why I like when it's lightning sometimes. You need to really pay attention, but they've really fucked it up with their little climate shit. And I don't want to get into that. But I just wanted to get something into your head about like how have they done this, you know? And this is one of the ways. I mean, it's real shit. They, you know, it's not like they came in and built a fucking huge microwave. You're in one. That's the whole thing. You're in one. Not unless they've got something to where that they can just aim it at it, like I was saying, that big on another level. Well, that makes sense too, which they do. But one of the ways of doing certain things is setting up a perimeter because the ground is already there. The elements are already inside of that shit, that badass shit. So they just had to figure out a way to introduce, you know, whatever and fucking destroy it from the inside out. You know, just like you do in a microwave. So the same way that the water molecules, the microwaves penetrate the food to the center and heat the molecules from the inside out. So that it has to be that same kind of way in certain areas because you'll see laser. I mean, dude, it is fucked up. There used to be a place up here on the mountain, but it's structure. They call it the Brain. And I don't know what it was, but they used to have, I mean, it looked like a brain. But you could tell, like, now I go back in my subconscious, like, whatever it was, like, how it was set up. I mean, it was heated to another fucking level. And you can just see it running over and all that. It's like these fake mountains around here. And the people that I know grew up on them. None of them have a problem with me talking about that kind of shit. And it's like, you know, I've gotten to the point to where I'm telling people, look, man, you're not real in the fucking head. You've had AI your whole life, and they just look at you. It's like, I won't get real with you and say you're displaying Arimon. Serious. It's fucking real, man. And it's real shit. And we're talking about, like, finally, man has become one of us to know good and evil, like Lucifer, you know. But the way that I'm seeing it is we've got Lucifer, Ahriman, and then Jehovah, which would be Jesus. Okay, and we have impulses over here, here, and here. And if you're still listening to this, we've battled these. Okay, we have to control these right here. You know, because I've talked to some of these people that I love dearly, and And they always say, when I'm like, this is one way to get better at business or do this or that, family, yourself. You got to look at some bad stuff that you've done or went through and, oh no, we need to forget about that. And it's like, but looking at that is what's gave me this almost 11 years, not being afraid. And see, I try to tell them that because you take that with you. Something you ignore, you take it with you. That's why it was always taught to go back through the day in reverse. Because when we go back through our life in reverse. As long as we've been asleep in this realm, in physical condition, asleep, is how long we go back through life in reverse. And we get to see it all. I'm telling you. It's a ride. And people don't have anything. That's just one small example. Other shit happens, but they don't have, and I'm being neutral. All they have is I'm dying going to heaven. It's like, yeah, but, and then they'll tell you don't have to earn it. You don't have to do nothing. And then they depend on these pills so they can keep eating this, drinking this, and they don't have no structure, no willpower, no discipline, nothing. And that's what fucking AI has done, Arimonic intelligence. And it's AI, artificial eye, because it programs the pineal gland and the occipital lobe. The imagination grows in the cerebrum, the memory. So, our children now, the fucking gadgets are in kindergarten. So, all these children run around, their fucking reality ain't even real. They think you can go get a chip put in and automatic have 007 Jason Bourne fucking powers, do karate kicks and all this, even though their body's never done any physical activity. That's how ignorant that they are. And they'll have a fucking degree from one of these fake universities making $250,000 a year working at a tech firm, thinking that they can do that. Oh, look at my job. You're a fucking dumbass. They created you. That's what we do as demons. We create the pride in them. They grow up with this fanatical fantasy mindset, and it grows in that imagination grows into the bullshit and the AI, and then that's how we plant our demons in there. And then they guide the child. They can't think for shit. They don't critically think. They memorize their way through the school system we created. So, anyways, I just wanted to share some of that with you because it's real technology. It is. Because there's places, man, you can see what I'm talking about. Just melt butter and pay attention to water. If you're around like ponds or when it rains a lot, how shit settles, how dirt settles. You'll see that formation in the same shit everywhere. How it was just, when it was liquid, it was rolling like water and then it just rehardened. And so you'll see the same formation in the structure as you do as when it floods. And, however, whatever it is that settles, there's going to be a design to it. Just like with the fucking, cymatics? I can't remember the name of it. That's a name. But it's it's all about vibration. They get these plates and put sand or whatever and shit in it, send a vibration or put it on something, and it creates patterns and designs. And that's the thing is all that shit up there creates all the patterns and designs down here in all this fucking life forms. So think about harnessing all that shit, like in an instant, and turning it on. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm dealing with the opposite I'm dealing with that. It's fucked up. Listen, I played golf because me and my dad don't really see each other except for there. I guess 5 years ago I started playing with him. Longer than that, but he just, I guess, felt sorry for me. I don't know. But I'm not a dummy, and what's inside of me knows what to do. So now, like tomorrow morning, if it doesn't rain, we've got this Memorial Day thing, and I'm a fucking captain. Yeah, that means I got to pick people. And it's like I didn't expect to get in there and get good, which I've been playing pretty good. And but that's something worldly that I have to do to pass time because you got to find something to, or if you stay in this shit, man, people are not going to listen to you. You'll start seeing more of it, more and more and more, and it'll drive you crazy. Your world, your mortal side of your worldly nature. Okay? Because it takes a lot of discipline to deal with people once you get to a certain stage. Because you're not dealing with human beings. I'm trying to tell you that. I told you the math you have can't see that. It can't put that together. And what you have, when I take this to physicists and astrophysicists that are in schools that challenge me and I put it in their hand, they set it down and walk off. It can't be explained. So if it can't be explained and it's not in school, that means it's not real and it doesn't exist, even though it's sitting right there. You don't understand that? Me and you can see that. They can't. So that means that they're not a human fucking being. And they're empowered. It's crazy. This is a fucking engineer too, and an astrophysicist trying to be or some shit. And I said, so, what was it? He was sitting there drinking a soda, a Coca-Cola. And he's an engineer, and he fucking hates me. Because I'm trying to show you, in nature and these batteries, and he just wouldn't listen to shit. But he's sitting there. And I said, okay, Mr. Engineer. He's having trouble with his pancreas and shit, like 22 or 23. And I'm like, brother, that's what's going on in your hand. And I can't remember, but it was a product of that. And he just looked at me and he goes, what are you talking about? And I said, let me ask you a question, Mr. Engineer. I said, because your anatomy is a machine. And I said, does that shit cause problems with the anatomy? And he just looked at me. And see, my whole point is his impressions from birth, okay, the imprints into his mind from the ads and everything he's ever seen as a child, it's in the fucking cartoons and everything, is an autonomic impulse. It's an entity that controls him, that's justified everything. And to make him look at everybody else. It's like, I'm the one going to this. He's always heard that and guided into that fucking direction. You can change the world. Look, an atom is just frozen electricity. It's just that easy. Listen to Steiner's shit. He'll tell you. When he gets going on Einstein and all that shit, he'll tell you it's nothing fucking, it's all garbage. It's nothing. He said this is the wave of the demons that has been preparing. They are coming. They're here. They're setting up this fucking crazy shit. That's right. Copernicanism, Darwinism. There's the Darth Vader. Darth Saturn wins ism. And see, ism, ISM, that's when you have to get into like Hebrew letters, spirit, Solomon, fucking demons, gematria, black magic, and that shit. Okay? Because that name, you got to throw away who the fuck he is. It's the name. It's the name, Darwinism. It's wins in these dumb goy, in these stupid encyclopedias that they make, in these fucking fake dictionaries, because it's an imprint. They see it. The optic nerve, that's what I'm saying. The same way you create a car, they're creating a fucking fake dumb human. The factory is all of the apartments and houses and everything. That's the factories. Yeah, and they think that's their homes. Nope. And then the substance that programs the product is the gadgets. That's what does that every day. And so that child grows into that shit. And it's not fucking real. And it's the weakest spirit ever. It's an Arimonic weak demon. Just fucking weak. So once you can get that in your head, it'll help you out. I gotta go. I love you.